Which DLC gives you the best value for your money? Which is the best DLC character of all time? I made a DLC tier list at the end of every season in Shinobi Striker with my thoughts on each character, but today I thought I should take things a little bit further. You see, these tier lists are always very subjective. You feel like a character is S tier or a B tier and you go with your gut on a lot of your decisions. So today I'm applying science. And this is what the science looks like. Yeah, it's just a spreadsheet. So I took the science and turned it into something that's a little bit more fun. Bam! Ninja cards. A single look at a card like this and you can see the score I gave this character's jutsu, their ultimate, if they have a substitution I've also scored it, and any bonus considerations are listed at the bottom, in case a character brings anything else that's worth mentioning like a weapon or a bonus jutsu. And after scoring all of these things, automatically I get a score for the character overall. And so my current tier list looks like this. It might be slightly different from previous videos, but I was actually surprised at how similar it was. And the coolest part about the system is that starting on season 6, the next season of DLC, we can actually make a card as soon as the character comes out, so we can show you the card when we do our character reviews. And that should give you an even better idea of how good a DLC actually is. Plus, thanks to all of this science, we can now do things like this. We can give a score to each season based on the average score of each character. So if you want to buy a season pass, you can quickly see which one gives you the most value. And that's especially cool since most of them are on sale right now. And previously, I actually thought season 2 was the best because it has those 4 characters towards the top of the tier list. But turns out the rest of the cast really drags it down. And the best one right now is actually season 4. But will season 5 be better? It's time to rank all the latest DLC, starting with Uchiha Madara Six Paths. His first jutsu is an S rank, no doubt about it. That lightning of his is that kind of ability that does everything for you. It's a great counter, it's an armored move, it stuns the opponent for a real long time, enabling great combos. It's got the range, it's one of the best jutsu in the game. And the limbo is also really good. The way I rank jutsu is I usually go for a B if I think the jutsu is good, which are most jutsu in this game. Limbo is a unique jutsu and it absolutely does its job. I would go for a C if I think the jutsu is mid, and I go for a D if I think it's bad or a duplicate. In this case, I didn't go higher than a B because for it to be an A rank, I don't think it can be this situational. Limbo is a very defensive jutsu, one that you use to stand your ground, but not very good for going on the offense. And then Madara's ultimate, I think would be very good if it didn't require so much team coordination. I mean, it's not hard to tell your team to stop attacking if you're on voice comms, but that's not always the case. And it takes a really long time to charge as well, making the ultimate good, but not great. As a bonus, Madara brings a new weapon with a whole new moveset. The only time I give bonus points for weapons is if they bring new movesets too. And this season had a lot of them. If they don't bring a new moveset, I don't even show them on the card. They just count as cosmetics to me. And every character usually brings 4 cosmetics anyway, so there wouldn't be any points there. It's not the case with Madara. The staff is a very stylish weapon. I don't know if it's actually good. It feels very floaty to me, but it's new and different, which means it brings value to the DLC. And that brings Madara to an A rank as a character, the exact same points as Mei. Next up, we got the curveball of the season with Temari, and she is a fantastic addition for range types, mostly because of her one jutsu, the Weasel. I love this jutsu so much. Really good tracking and basically marks a target for death, since it removes their ability to be healed. With a well-coordinated team, this changes the way you approach team battles. No longer do you need to focus down the healer, you can focus down anyone you want, as long as they have been marked by the Weasel, because they cannot be healed. That said, I gave it an A rank because it's not a jutsu that carries you, it's a jutsu that requires team coordination, and like I said, you don't always have that. That's why this whole tier list isn't really a competitive one, it's a bit more aimed to the average player. And maybe that's why I really don't like the tornadoes. They don't have a lot of range, so you use them kind of in a mid-range to an opponent, but also the tornado tracking only activates after a delay. It's still usable, which is why it's not a D tier jutsu, but I find it way too situational. And the situations where you do use it, you could probably run something better. And the ultimate tornado is a good jutsu, B rank. It hits on a massive area, it can catch a whole team. It's a big time waster because it lasts for a while. It's just not better because it's mostly a combo ultimate. It doesn't deal as much damage on its own, it requires a team to make it complete. As a bonus, she brings a fan for defense types, which throws projectiles with a strong attack. And since defense types have armor on strong attacks, that means they get armored projectiles with Temari's fan, and I think that's awesome. She's a B rank DLC with the same score as Hashirama, Tobirama, and Sasuke last battle. Konohamaru was the DLC that followed, and in my opinion, he is the worst DLC of this season, which isn't bad at all. Konohamaru is not a bad DLC, the rest were just so much better that it feels like he was left behind a little bit. But first of all, I really like the Ash Jutsu, a big cloud of unblockable ash that stuns the opponent, countering a lot of jutsu and setting up perfectly for big combos. On top of that, it's big enough to deny some areas from the enemy team, or they risk taking big damage. It's an attack type's dream when it comes to combos, but it has some downsides that keep it from being a top tier jutsu. The cast time is a bit long, so it's easy to get interrupted. Jumping opponents don't get stunned for a long time, so it can kind of ruin your combos, and it can be hard to hit since it doesn't have a lot of range or tracking. So it ends up being a very good jutsu, just not a top tier. As for the clone that shoots fireballs, I think it's a very versatile jutsu that you can use in a lot of different scenarios, and in all of those scenarios, it's a good jutsu, but it's never great. It never dominates or completely destroys an opponent. The jutsu itself is okay, and given its versatility, I think it's a B tier, but I wouldn't go higher than that. And the ultimate is the stain on this character. It's just a bad ultimate. Enemies around you get a monkey on their back, and the best thing the monkey does is disabling enemy substitutions. So you can deal some big damage while the monkey is there, but why run something that enables you to deal damage when you could just run something that deals damage on its own? I don't really know. But the big reason why this jutsu is bad is the follow-up activation, because it's so easy to dodge it that most players just do it accidentally. Paired up with an extra long ultimate charge, yeah, D tier. Bonus points though for another weapon with a unique moveset. This one might not be as unique as other weapons, as it basically only has a new strong attack. But hey, a bonus point is a bonus point, despite the ultimate really hurting his score. But the math still says Konohamaru is a B tier character. Not as good as Temari, but with the same score as Onoki and Obito. And then we have the star of the season, Baryon Mode Naruto, which was by far the best DLC of Season 5. There's nothing but good things on this DLC. First of all, a top tier jutsu. That Ora Flurry, unblockable, a counter to many abilities, completely armored, deals good damage, unsubbable, incredible tracking, and drains your opponent's secret jutsu gauge. Are you kidding me? It's like they asked, what effects should this jutsu have? And the answer was yes. Top tier S-rank jutsu, absolutely busted. The other jutsu, not so much. It's good. Activating Tailbreaker and having a tail that passively deals damage to anyone that approaches you is something that I always welcome in my life. But I'm not a big fan of the way it knocks opponents back. It makes it hard to keep them in a combo. And as an attack type, I think you want to start and finish a combo once you touch your opponent. That's your job as an attack type. It's to take them down after you touch them, and this tail makes it hard to do so. Still, it's a good jutsu. It does give the character some more survivability. It's just not ideal for the role of attack types. But the ultimate, oh my lord. First, it heals you back to full health. Second, it gives you the most busted abilities that this game has. And third, it finishes with big damage. This is like Might Guy's ultimate, except it doesn't kill you. Well, it does deplete your health slowly, but you can totally survive this. It's another top tier ultimate, and if that wasn't enough, Naruto gets a bonus point for bringing a substitution to the game. I think the substitution is okay, and a sub is always extra value because you can equip it on any class type, but in my opinion, it's not as good as the subs that we got back on Season 4. S tier character, one of the best DLC in the game, making our entire top 3 just attack types. Why do they get all the love? Well, technically his score is actually the same as adult Sasuke, so I could swap their positions, but I like to create drama. And we closed the season with Isshiki, and Isshiki was an okay DLC, nothing groundbreaking. I think the yellow eye is a very good jutsu, just short of top tier, because what it gives defense types is nothing new. It allows defense types to be aggressive while being protected by this jutsu, which is something they always had before. This jutsu is more of that, but it's also very good at doing that. The grab is also a good jutsu, but nothing crazy. The lunge is a bit slow, so it can be interrupted as you approach the enemy. If it hits, it does have some great combo potential, but the damage you get from it isn't that big of a deal in my opinion. You could argue that dealing damage isn't really your job as a defense type, but if you think your job is to hold down points to protect flags and harass the enemy so they don't kill your healer or your attack types, then this jutsu doesn't really help with all of that either, which is why I think it's good, it's new, it gives defense types something different, but it's not more than a B rank. And the same goes for his ultimate. I think it's unique. The cubes falling from the sky are a pain to deal with for the enemy team, but over time people are getting used to dodging them and are realizing that that's not super hard to do. So you gotta get in there yourself and prevent them from moving around so the jutsu can do its job properly. Still, there's a bit of RNG because you don't control who the jutsu is going to target, making it a good jutsu but not a button that you press to win. After you press the button, you still gotta work for your kills. And Isshiki actually brings a new ninja tool for defense types that I think is awesome. I gave him 2 bonus points because of this ninja tool, but I also took away half a point because he has 1 less cosmetic than usual. He's the only DLC this season with only 3 cosmetic items. That's not super important, which is why I only took half a point away. It's not gonna change his score as an A tier character, but it's gonna put him below those top 3 characters in A tier, as he just got the same score as Nagato. After placing all of these characters on the tier list and checking out what their average scores are, I can safely say that this is the best Shinobi Striker season that we've ever gotten. And that's really impressive considering that this was also the season where we got 3 whole new maps. In fact, if you look at the average score for each season, it's like they're getting better over time, and that's really awesome to see. Of course, the way I score each one of these jutsu is still very subjective. It's my opinion at the end of the day, but if you have a different opinion, I would love to hear it in the comments below. And if you like this video, you probably want to know what happens in the next season of DLC, right? I talk about upcoming characters and changes happening in Season 6 right here. See you guys there. Bye.